And then I had an experience on the plane as I started the fast that everything was going to be all right. And that the fast, to continue the fast, was not necessary anymore. That was my intuitional experience. So anyhow, so then I got back to Miami, and Erwin was flying. Erwin was on his way to India, and when I arrived back, and I remember I started to have like you'd say, like an experience.
Yeah.
And in the experience, I began to feel the presence of God, and it was. But anyhow, as the hours were going by...
What was the presence of God like?
It was an overwhelming... It was an experience of a love that was filled with... It was a pure love that was filled with tremendous compassion for all life, all human beings. On the planet.
And you felt that like you were compassionate, or it was something that came to you that was directed to you?
Something that was opened up inside of me. And it became part of my experience. It was an awakening that awakened into me this divine, it was like a divine love, a higher, pure love for all of humanity.
So when you say an awakening, it's like it was always there and you became awake to it.
Yes, it was like a veil. It was like a veil was removed.
Huh.
And I was in a state of whatever I would see, I could sense that it was almost like that God was everywhere, except that I was experiencing coming from within me, that awakening of God.
You know, we have a skill called remove the veil.
Mm-hmm. Not to take care of myself. Really? Fucking, you know, when I'm around by it, you gotta be not only look respectable, you gotta talk respectable. Be respectable.
You do. That's right. You want to treat me like I'm somebody who cures things.
Cures things. Thousands of people. You know, I have to be very mindful of whom I'm talking to. Very mindful, man.
Oh, and I love you. You're just so much fun. We met 40 years ago, almost. You realize that? I was 15 and you were 20.
Yes, I remember you. I remember you very clearly. You know how you looked. I remember the beach. I remember even the women that you met. That one woman you brought over to me. You introduced me that you met on the beach. You know, I have a memory of you know how she even looked. And you're smiling.
Then you discovered Meher Baba in the New York Public Library.
Okay.
Start there.
Okay. At that time, this was in 1959.
Right.
At that time, I was about 19 years old. But what caught my attention was the title. And in big words, it had "Listen, Humanity." And I said, gee whiz, you know, this man would really like someone to listen. So anyhow, I opened it up, and I saw a picture, which I was come to know of, was an Indian master by the name of Meher Baba. I didn't know that it was a picture of an Indian master when I saw it, but he certainly looked, he had a garland around him. It looked like a man right in Hawaii. My brother, who had made a contact with Meher Baba, and also I, and anyhow, Baba had expressed that he would like to see both of us. And so we were both really delighted, because now I was really awakened spiritually, and knew that there was a higher awareness to experience, to connect with. and that Baba could be very, very helpful spiritually in this respect. So Erwin and I, that we got the news that Baba was giving darshan, and meeting where people could have his contact and to have his help. So my brother and I thought, well, this is something that we really would like to do. And however, on the other hand, my father, he was very opposed to Baba. We had spoken to him about Baba, but he was very, what you'd say, really closed-minded. And he had no interest in hearing about Baba, and just felt that Baba was absolutely unnecessary, and we shouldn't even be thinking in terms of Meher Baba. So he was, I mean, really opposed. My father had left. He had left at that point, at that time, on a vacation with his wife, and so he was going to be gone for a good couple of weeks. So my brother and I, we were thinking, you know, about how we were going to really have all the monies. I mean, we had some, but it wouldn't really be quite enough to be able to make that trip to India, where Baba was at that time. So I tried to think of things to do, and then Erwin decided, you know, he was the vice president of the company, and of my father's company, which dealt with selling real estate. And so my brother came up with an idea that he would really put he took a bonanza of an ad in the paper for real estate. And anyhow, it turned out to be very successful, and with the sales and all, and we had all the necessary monies to go. And so within a short time, my father, of course, he had come back, and now my brother and I were making plans. We knew we had to make plans without him knowing, because he would prevent us from going. So we made our plans without him knowing anything, getting our passports, our visas, and everything else. And then we both left Miami, and when they came back in, and then they said, well, listen, why don't you do this here? You should just turn over all your monies to us, and then you can go back and we can give it to and everything will be all right. And we said, no, why should we do that? He says, because this whole thing is not good. And in the meantime, suddenly they went out the door, and they came back in, because we were very adamant. We're not turning our monies over to anybody or anything. And just then the door burst open. My father came in, and he said to us, he says, you guys, he says, you need to forget this whole thing of India and just turn over all your traveler's checks and your monies to me. And then we can all go back and everything will be fine. We don't even have to think about this. And we said to him, no, that, you know, what we want to do, you know, is to go to India, and the money is ours, so therefore, why do we need to go to, why would we have to turn it over to you? And this is not, you know, and then he said, he turned around to these, apparently detectives, and he says, see, they don't listen to anyone. You know, all they want to do is get money and think that they're going to go to India, and this is not going to happen, because